Hey, welcome to the For Animals, For Earth podcast. For anyone who doesn't know me, I am Brandy Heidi Montague. I'm the founder of For Animals, For Earth. And today I am joined by Dr. Vatsala Sperling, who wrote the Ayurvedic Reset Diet, which is a book that I am going to try to show you all here on the camera that I am so incredibly excited about. This is published by Inner Traditions. So as you listen to the interview today, if you're interested, you can find it at innertraditions.com. So Vatsala, hello, welcome to the show.
Brandy, you have no idea how delighted I am to be in this show. Genuinely happy to be talking to you and to explore this book, Ayurvedic Reset Diet. Thank you for inviting me.
Oh, thank you for coming. I can't tell you how excited I am too. You know, we've been talking about this for a couple of months now since I read the book. And I feel like, so for those of you who are watching and listening, Vatsala has a very rich history of culture and knowledge and research. And you have taken so much of what you have learned and and I feel like summarized it into this little easy to digest book, which really can help all of us. I feel like find more vitality in our health through the food that we eat and the process of how we eat. And I think that is what has really excited me about reading this and about talking to you and just learning more about it today. I think, let me quickly introduce a little bit about you, actually, for those who are listening and watching. So Vatsala is a homeopathic doctor based in Vermont, although right now you're living in Costa Rica doing this incredible reforestation project where she and her husband are actually replanting the rainforest next to the native untouched rainforest and bringing back so many species of life, from plants to animals, and probably actually bringing human beings back to life too through all of the work that you're doing in a bit of a figurative way. So I actually interviewed Vatsala's husband in episode 43. So anyone who's interested in the reforestation project, you all can go back and listen to that. So today we're talking about the book, and we're talking about the connection between food and just our holistic health and the nourishment of our bodies. And what really drew me in from the first second of reading your book was in the first chapter, you really paint a picture of your childhood. And it's such an idyllic picture of sitting in a kitchen with plants growing all around, and you would thank the plant before cutting it to eat. And I don't know, you just grew up with such a strong spiritual connection to food. So I thought maybe we can start today by talking a bit about that. Can you tell us about where you grew up and just how you grew up with such a strong spiritual connection to seeing food as a really deep nourishment of the human body?
Sure. Got to clear my throat for that. So, for this extraordinary introduction to food, I am truly indebted to my parents. They are both not with me anymore. They have gone, they have died. But they had the grounding in Ayurveda by the way of just living it. My mother was a college graduate way back whenever she was a young lady, and she was a daughter of a college professor. So she just took to education, very brilliant, creative woman, very, very smart and 100 years ahead of her time. And my father was a regular guy, but they lived Ayurveda in every breath. So, and those were the days when I was little in the early 60s. There was no electronic media. And in our neighborhood, there was one radio further down the road in a neighbor's house. We didn't have radio and television and cell phone and iPad and Apple Mac and Windows. We didn't have all of that. We had running water and electricity and a beautiful climate to grow things. So parents grew all our vegetables and fruits. In India, in Jamshedpur, where I grew up, very nice, warm climate, rich soil, good temperature year round. So we always had fresh fruits. We always had fresh vegetables. So the staples like rice and oil and tea and sugar, we didn't do our own. We purchased, but fruits and vegetables from the garden, which we planted. So the trick was, mom would ask, well, I'm cooking something and I need a tomato. One of us will just run right to the garden, find the tomato which was best for picking. We'll bring that. Mom, is that good? Yep, that's the tomato. So it was that fresh. It was like, you talk about farm to table, that was plant to your mouth. There was not even the table, and it wasn't a farm, it was a kitchen garden in the backyard. So you pick from the plant, you bring it home and you cook it. And year round, we had all the vegetables and fruits growing up. Okay, so what I experienced was abundance. Excuse me. Abundance. And a lot of mangoes and guavas and bananas and grapes and lemons and all kinds of tropical vegetables. It's all growing. So our parents said, okay, here is food is growing. It's the earth which is providing for you. That was the first thing I remember. It's not you just snatch from the plant and you eat it and you just discard the seed and you're done. No, no, no. Earth is providing for you. So earth is your mother. Earth is not something you possess, you own, you claim, you fight wars over, or you subjugate her. That's not earth. Earth is a mother, and you approach earth with respect. That was the first lesson. Then harvesting. So how much do you want to take from the plant? Do you want to just empty it out and fill up your fridge? Or do you want to just take what you need, not what you want? Take what you need, so that any other person is needy, there will be something left for them. If mom needed one tomato, I'll bring her one tomato. The plant still has 5 more. And if my neighbor run out of tomatoes, they can come and take a tomato. But if I empty out the plant, then if the neighbor needed it, he wouldn't get it. So sharing. So earth is your mother. You take what you need, not what you want, and then share. You give to your friends, you give to your neighbors, you give to the needy people, you distribute the generosity, the generous gift that Mother Earth gives you. It's not just for you. It's for the birds and the bees and the animals and the cows and the dogs and the neighbors, butterflies. Everybody has a right to live. So food must be shared. So these are the basic lessons which I saw in practice. She didn't read it out of a book. Mom didn't read it out of a book. She would just tell me. Okay, now the food is in. Ayurveda begins with ritual for the fire, the cooking style. So there is the prayer to the fire god in Hindu mythology, to sustain this kitchen, the warmth in the kitchen, and help us cook food. Then food itself is a blessing from goddess Annapurna, who is, in our understanding, the wife of Lord Shiva. So we pray to her for the bounty, and we thank her for the bounty. Now, food is ready. You just don't start munching it down. You take it all to the prayer room. We had a prayer room and we lay out all the food, offer it to the gods first in a prayer. So it's offered to the deities, to the higher energies, to the loftier ideals first, and then mom will distribute food to all of us. We were 6 children. So sharing began at home. Sharing began at the garden. Gratitude and thank you for the food was not once a year, I'm grateful to food. No, no. Every meal, you're grateful to your food. So these were very basic lessons, Brandy, but not out of any textbook, out of a lived life. And that's what parents taught us. And then Ayurveda also has rules about hygiene, about how to wash your hand, how to wash the vegetables, how to cook food, how to combine various ingredients. So I saw her do all of that. That's where my education began, in Ayurveda. And all the inspiration and learning about simple little things of daily life, that's where it began.
No, that's so amazing. I think because it feels like such a deep departure from the way at least a lot of people, us in the US, consume food now. I think I know there's quite a few people who are working to get back to that deeper relationship, and quite a few people will say a prayer before eating, but a lot of times it's just like, how do we get through that quickly because we're hungry? And there's just become such a departure from knowing where food even comes from. And what you're describing, you said a couple of times, it's so simple. And it really is so simple, yet it's not a part of a lot of our cultures and our daily way of living. So I love just the idea of working to bring that back, working to say, I want to spend a minute thinking about what I take off the plant. I want to spend a minute thinking about how I clean it, how I cook it. I want to spend a couple of minutes offering thanks before I consume. I think, like you said, that's just a simple idea we can all take and we can all try to begin cultivating in our lives.
And in that regard, changes are happening. Organic food movement is one. Farm to table movement is another. Local food movement is another. And just the other day, I was at a homeopathy webinar, and a participant's daughter collects farm access. The carrot, which is a little bit off shape, the cauliflower, which is a little bit too small or a bit too big. She collects those and redistributes them to needy people. So people's awareness is happening too. So there is also always the checks and balance. We have gone too far in one direction in mechanization of our relationship with food, but at the same time, an alternative movement is also happening. So at the same time, while I'm observing what has gone wrong with the system, I'm also hopeful that particularly younger generation, they're very aware. They know what they want to put in their mouth, and they're wary of brand names and so on. So they're getting very clever, the youngsters. So I feel hopeful, totally hopeful.
Yes, good. I love just hearing that kind of uplifting, view from what you're seeing. And I agree, I was thinking as you were talking about some of the community gardens that have popped up around here in LA, and people in neighborhoods are coming together and growing their food together so that it can then be used as a shared resource like it was when you were a kid. And why not? Because I do think it's very common, if you have a garden, to have excess. You know, I think that's
Oh,
just,
yes.
it happens, right? I mean, I remember growing up with, in our neighborhood, my parents had a garden, and then I remember our neighbors had a garden and they had apple trees. And so we would exchange what we had excess of, and it was just a given thing. And then you'd bring the extra to church or wherever and just hand it out. And
Absolutely.
there's so much food to go around in that sort of growing our own gardens, right? So,
Yep.
yeah.
I see that even now in Costa Rica, where we have been living for the past 1 year, a lemon tree. All of a sudden, my gardener does a lemon harvest, and he'll come with like 2 huge bags full of lemons. You possibly cannot eat them all. So naturally, I'm making little packets to send to his grandmothers, to send to his mother, all our acquaintances nearby. They get a little packet of lemons and bananas and mangoes or whatever is growing. You cannot possibly eat it all by yourself. The abundance of nature is amazing. So when you start in your family and say, you know, children, I want you to know that the tree is there to give to you, but it's not only for you. You spread it around, you give to people. They may not be needy, but they'll enjoy it. And if they're needy, they'll be very happy to receive some fresh food. So we have to start with the younger generation in our homes, in our kitchen table, and tell them, you know what, there is world beyond you as well. There are people around you. You reach out, you share with them. And that is one foundational principle I learned in that household, which was totally Ayurvedic. The household was Ayurvedic. So that's where the concept I got firsthand.
You know, it really is such an amazing thing to teach children, because I'm thinking of just this innate belief that there's enough to go around, and how that would change even your cellular makeup as you grow. Just believing there's enough to go around, there's abundance, then you start to see resources as things we symbiotically live with and we share, rather than we own and we, hoard. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, totally makes sense, right? It's
It really
it's there for
does.
sharing, for giving to people. It's not just for me. Yeah, it
Mm-hmm.
makes complete sense.
It really does. And yeah, and it's such a simple idea. I'm excited for everyone who's listening, and for myself to just be a little more conscious of it with my kids.
Yes.
So tell me a little bit more about where the inspiration for the book came from. So how did you get to a point where you grew up with this childhood influence? I know that you've studied microbiology through it. You've studied homeopathy. Where did the inspiration for the book ultimately come from?
Okay. Again, that's grounded in the childhood experience. So, the book itself, the Ayurvedic Reset Diet, it's an encapsulation of everything that I have learned so far. It's like an extraction, a summary of life experience, of education, of research, everything put together. That's the book. Okay. So, okay, India. Another name for India is the land of festivals. I made up that name. It's not, it's not seriously the name. I made up the name because every week we have some or the other festival going on. Every month there is a major festival, and the minor ones are countless. Every week there is something happening for which there is going to be special menu. So I'll give you one example. One festival from India, which the whole world knows, is called Diwali. It's the festival of lights and comes at the end of the fall season. All over the country, people are lighting lamps and making special festive foods. And 6 of us, 6 children in the house, we will kind of really eat. healthy, rambunctious youngsters, we ate a lot of festive food. Next day, the tummy is talking, you know. So, what does mommy do? She doesn't drag us to a hospital or go see a doctor and get this and get that. Nothing. We never went to a doctor. Mom treated us at home. Whatever happened, she took care of it. Either she'll use homeopathy or she'll use Ayurveda, and we were okay. We just got better, healthy. Okay. So she's like, come on. Now, this is what happened. You ate too much, didn't you? All right. So what do we do? So she'll put us on a simplified diet. First, she'll make us fast on water only. And the next day, she'll put us on a simplified one type of food, one kind of food, khichdi, for example. Ayurveda has khichdi preparation recipes. So she'll put us on that. One day on that, or she will offer us just fruits for a day, nothing else. One day of water, the next day of mono diet, third day, we were fine. Gastric upset gone, nausea gone, vomiting gone, loose stool gone, constipation gone, blah, blah, blah. Feeling healthy. It's like, wow, 2 days, that's it. And no antibiotics needed, no lab test, nothing. So I saw her do that. So her technique was, you're not feeling well, fast. After the fasting, go for a mono diet. After that, combine food in a sensible way. She showed us how to do that while she was raising us. So I learned that. And years go by, I run around becoming a clinical microbiologist and so on. And I had a very good career doing that. Very happy to have had that super scientific, technologically advanced, hardcore science and research education. Very grateful for that. And I worked in a hospital, in children's hospital. So very nice. I was very, very happy to do that. Then I found my husband and got married and came to the US. So first 6-7 years, I was just stay-at-home mom raising my kid. Then he began the first grade. He's gone from 7 o'clock to 3 o'clock. And I'm saying, what am I doing now? So I said, okay, I have to go back to school. So I did 4.5 years of education in clinical in homeopathy. Okay. And then I did the national certification exams and so on, board certified, so to speak. And I started a small practice in a small rural town in United States. Okay. I'm the only homeopath and also I'm the only Indian in that town.
That's interesting.
Yeah. So I started my practice. Very early on, what they call the greenhorn, you just come out of school and you're just starting your first client. It's kind of, butterflies in the stomach. And you always wonder, geez, did I study well enough? And am I qualified to do this work? And all those questions, okay? Here comes the very first client, first or second. She wants help with homeopathy. So what is her complaint? She's tired all the time, like fibromyalgia, chronic fatigue, very upset and sad, and not feeling well, not healthy, aches and pains and flexibility issues, a lot of bodily problems, plus she's not feeling well, sad in her mind. All that is going on. So I'm asking her the homeopathic questions. It's a very elaborate system of talking to the person and finding out about their complaints. It's called case taking in homeopathy. It goes in a very humane level to understand the individual at a holistic level as well as their symptoms. So I'm doing all of that. Then a part of that conversation is about diet. What do you eat? What do you like to eat? What you don't like to eat? So I asked her, so what is your regular diet? Give me a minute. I'll just pull that slide out and I will tell you in a minute. I'll read it out from there, okay?
Okay.
So, okay, I got it. So her breakfast was 4 eggs, 2 slices of bread with jam, bacons, and a few cups of coffee. Then after a while, she wanted to snack. And that would be potato chips or onion rings or cookies, corn chips, whatever she can get, soft drink. She wasn't too specific, whatever she can get. Lunch was chicken breast or turkey or tuna sandwich, salmon, something, and coffee again. And then cake or cookies with a cup of coffee or milkshake for after lunch snack, dessert. And then dinner has to be steak or ham or a lamb, pork, some heavy duty meat. And then she has to have potatoes with it, creamed potatoes.
Okay.
She has to have it. And then she has to have a dessert again at night, chocolate or ice cream, one of those. I heard that and the bells are ringing in my brain. I'm saying, where are the vegetables? Where is the fruit? Where is water? She never mentioned she drinks water. There was no mention of salad or a mango or an apple, nothing. It's a meat, potatoes, grains, coffee, dessert, ice cream, chocolate. That's it. So I faced a question, Brandy. The question in my mind as a new practitioner was that, shall I tell her the truth? That was the question. Okay. And this is what went on in my mind. If I tell her the truth, I might lose my client. She came to me for homeopathy and I'm going to tell her about diet. Why would she come back? I lost my patient, right? Like my client. If I do not tell her the truth, then the remedies do something or don't do something, but there is a maintaining cause for her problem.
Right.
So in homeopathy, the idea is when there is a maintaining cause, you deal with it, you remove it, and then choose the remedy. So the remedies can work very well. So I said, you know what? No matter if she comes back or not, I do not care. What I do care is she has to hear the truth. So I told her, I can give you some remedy, but I don't know what it will do because your problem is directly connected with your food. She's saying, what? Because this has been her eating pattern for a long time. She was clinically obese as well. So she said, what do you mean? I'm eating regular. I have a lot of food. I'm eating food. I said, well, this is the thing. I sat her down and I explained to her. Said, if you want to work with me, you can always come back and I'll walk you through a process of cleaning up your diet. We have to start with that. So if you're up for that, do come back. I will be happy to work with you. But if you would rather not go in that area, then I can tell you the remedies alone aren't going to do anything. You'll be just wasting your money. So she went. She didn't take the remedy. She went. I said, there you go. I lost my client. A week later, she comes back. She says, okay, I thought about what you said. And she was like in her late 20s at that time. It's too young to be too sick.
Yeah.
So she came back and she said, okay, so what are you going to suggest? What do you want to tell me? Let me hear it. I want to see if I can do something. So then began my journey with her. And I walked her through the Ayurvedic Reset Diet principles, educated her basically what food is good for you, when you should eat, when you should not eat, what are the, la, 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 la. The whole 9 yards of educating a client on basic nutrition, basic healthy eating. That girl, she's still in touch with me regarding her other complaints and whatever. Now I'm talking 2008. So it's a long time. She's still in touch with me. So she cleaned up her diet. She had very good outcome, very good improvement, and the remedies started doing help helping her. And that young girl was my inspiration for writing this book, because over the years, I met many, many people whose problems were connected with food. And if you don't tell them, they just go on believing they're doing the right thing, but their food is a problem. So I started telling my clients, I give them the homeopathy, I talk to them about lifestyle changes and what they can do to get even more better. So all those things put together became the book. And those clients of mine, they are the inspiration for me to write this book. It's with the idea to be able to help people. Long answer.
But what an amazing story. What an amazing story. And, I can really track with you through all of it, especially that fear of, can I share what I think is the true problem right now? Because I do think that probably is still happening and still exists. I mean, the diet you described did not sound too far out of whack from what I would think a lot of diets are. It wasn't like she was eating, Cheetos and it's like she was eating actual meals. And so it wasn't like you would be able to immediately go, oh, she's eating McDonald's for every meal, and so it's bad. So I think probably a lot of people have a diet similar to what you were talking about and would not ever think that that is what's causing them to not feel well. And yeah, I think, at least as an American culture, we're growing to kind of understand, oh, wow, food really does have a pretty big impact on how we feel. And what I love is that you have a method for how we can kind of detox and build back up to what would be a very healthy way to eat, and then therefore a healthy way to live with the Ayurvedic Reset Diet, right? So maybe we can shift into the second half of our interview and really dig into exactly what that is. You